Welcome to the second episode of Games and Stuff and Things. It is February the 6th, Tuesday, 2020. It's 24 now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, cool.
I'll get used to that in 6 months, maybe.
I'm your host, Robert, and I am joined by Suhail.
Hello.
Brandon.
What's up?
Dylan. And we have a very special guest, Matt.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Dylan,
Got that
thank you.
debonair voice.
Yeah, right? Just gotta go a little bit deeper for that.
Welcome to the podcast. Matt, what's up, man? It's cool to have you on.
Thanks, thanks for having me, y'all. I can't wait to talk about the stuff. I don't know what y'all normally talk about, but
Well, games
stuff.
and stuff and things. So
And
you're like a third of the way there.
yeah. I'm getting games mostly, but
What kind of games?
any kind of games, baby. I don't care.
Well,
All of them.
Well, you got any specific mentions?
Yeah, I guess I wanted to talk about tabletop games
Yep.
when I came on, so I was interested in what y'all's favorite tabletop game is and why. Maybe it's like family related or something, or just why it is that you like that game so much.
Have you seen the XCOM board game?
Yeah, I've seen it at like a game shop before. I've never played it though. It looks fun.
It's so sick.
Yeah.
So it's 4-player. I think it's up to 4-player cooperative, and you're all working together to fight the tablet.
Okay.
Because it's an app you download on your tablet or your phone, and it'll tell you like everybody has a job. So like, say you recruit dudes, and Dylan like focuses on like where the UFOs are, and he sends jets out and shit.
Okay.
So, and the tablet will like send aliens out and invasions out, and you have to deal with it together. But the more that you messed up, the more that the information gets like jumbled. So you're supposed to know like this mission you're going to is going to have these aliens, and everybody has information that can deal with it accordingly. But if you do bad, or you're like, have you played XCOM?
Yeah.
So you know like the panic level?
Yes.
That exists in the board game.
Oh,
so as
cool.
that increases, it'll start mixing up the information. So you know that a mission is here, but you don't know what kind of aliens it is because you're doing bad.
Oh, that's fun.
It's
I like
it's
that.
super tricky, but I've only ever played it like twice. Anybody else got some board games? Or just tabletop, period?
Yeah, something.
Yeah, well, as far as board games go, I'm a huge fan of the classic Risk, but specifically I like the Lord of the Rings Trilogy Edition Risk,
Okay.
just because I think that they have some fun game modes. There's like this One Ring mode, where essentially it's like one player's controlling the ring and is trying to defend the ring and get it from the Shire, from Rivendell all the way to Mordor, and then the other player is playing the forces of Mordor and trying to get the ring. So I think that's like a fun little dynamic that they incorporate into that.
That is cool.
I'm also a huge fan of Magic the Gathering, which is cardboard crack.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said before we came in, or before we started this, it has taken over my life. I don't know why. Like, ever since November, playing y'all with that, like, just little cheap Commander's deck, I've just gone in, like, head first. And it has taken so much money from me. It's insane. Like,
I think I have spent like 12. Dude, it had to be more. But I think the number is around like $1,200 just in the Lord of the Rings set alone.
yes.
It's fucking. It was just like gone in the blink, like 3 clicks and it was gone.
Yes, absolutely. I think I purchased like a box of that too, and it was a couple hundred. It's like, oh my god, dude, I can't keep doing this, but
I don't want to disclose how much I've
Yo,
spent
got
on
to.
Magic the Gathering over the course of like a decade and a half.
It's okay, we
I've
know.
been playing since high school.
I want to say like 5 bands.
That's a very modest
Yeah.
number. I've spent probably the most I've spent on just a single card at one point in time was $720
Oh my god.
on a single card. It was Gaia's Cradle.
Guy's great.
It was.
What does that one do?
That one is essentially it's on the reserves list. It's from the Urza Saga block. So the reserve list, for people who don't know, is like basically it was printed a long time ago. They're never printing it again. So there's limited copies of it, which is also why it commands a premium. What the card does is it's a land that you can tap it and it will produce 1 green mana for every creature you control.
I see.
So
Okay.
obviously this is a staple for competitive EDH or Commander, as it's called. For any deck, primarily that is focusing on green or creatures. So it's a very, very powerful card. It's very useful. And now I think it's going for like a little over a grand. So
Nice, man.
I know. So like there is like some money to be made, I guess. But like with anything, it's a form of gambling. Like, you don't know. Nobody knows what the market is going to do. And with that said, I did sell that card for a $20 profit. I sold it for $740 when I had my daughter. I was like, ooh, I probably don't need a $700 Magic card.
Probably not.
He runs
You
off.
need a cradle?
No.
You're like,
Yeah.
sorry, child. We can't eat dinner this week. I just bought a new Magic card.
Yeah, but look how sick this is. This is limited edition.
Come on, I just got 3 green mana.
Yeah, but I'm in recovery now. I've
Good.
not spent a dime on Magic the Gathering over the last few months. So
I wish I was where you are because it's still happening. I think I just got a pull in from Card Kingdom that was easily $300. It was God.
it comes and goes, man. It comes in waves. You're like, wee, I'm addicted. Nostalgia. Also, I think for me, what got me really into Magic was getting my ass kicked from my older brother all the time as a kid growing up. And my obsession was just with winning. I was like, I want to win.
Yes.
And that's how I started buying all these expensive cards and getting really into the hobby and everything. But yeah, that's my most invested tabletop game.
That's where we diverge, because I went to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament at the mall and I got my ass handed to me on the first match, and I was like, you know what, fuck this. I'm out. I never want to feel this way again.
I'm done with you, Yugi.
See, but Suhail, I imagine for you, then you play your brother 20 years later and you have like the top tier competitive deck and you just wipe the floor with him.
Yeah, he doesn't even want to play with me.
Your brother's just like, sorry, I moved on.
It's funny because he even says, he's like, I've created a monster, a very much in debt monster. And I that's one thing I will say, that Magic the Gathering can be very pay to win.
Yeah.
But if you have like a solid little like friend group that you play with, like, I'm all for the allowing of proxies, because it can be just kind of an unobtainable to get to those higher levels of play,
Yes,
unless you're dropping thousands of dollars.
Absolutely. Yeah. On Spell Table, it's just, man, it's a lot of that, especially in the competitive scene. Because, oh man, I played a few games on there, and it's crazy. Like, you play everyone all over the world, and it's just right there, you know, in like a Discord format. And these cats are no joke. Like, they have all these proxies for like all the Moxes, it's just, oh my god, it's just nonstop. So like by turn 2, these dudes have like an entire board state of just Moxes and all the stuff that they cheated out, and it's like, what can I do against this? I'm just like, I'm over here with my little party time precon. I'm just like, okay, yeah, like I'm gonna test this out. I get like 2 creatures out there. By turn 3, he has an infinite, and we're all dead. I'm like, oh
God, dude. What was that software you said?
Spell Table.
What is that exactly?
So it's made by Wizards of the Coast. It's their own little not like a social network, but like you go on there, and it basically is just like Discord.
You said, yeah, similar to Discord.
You just, like, you can make a game or you can join a game, and they go based off, like, you know, whatever that person wants to do. So if they're doing like commander, like power, or like the toughness of the deck, like whatever that rating system is, I don't know how they do that, but they say like 6 and 7, or here's just the pre.
Very debatable.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows what a 6 or 7. Usually, what I like to do is like how many turns before your deck usually wins.
Yes, yeah.
That's a better accurate like
Mine's
way
like
to
20, dude.
Yeah, because a 6 or a 7 for one person could be like a 10 or a 9 or 10 for somebody else,
Yes.
right? So it's like, what does that really mean?
You get a lot of those people too, and it's just like I think one time I created a game because I just built the rat deck. It's all rats, it's all mono black.
Yeah, buddy.
I just want to do a mono commander game, so I put that out there, and then this guy joins. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be playing so and so, and their backup commander is this," and it was a different color. I'm like, "What are you doing?" I said mono color. Come on. Like they try to, like, it's weird. Like there are a lot of weird people on that website because they try to get around things, and then they also are the ones with like the really high dollar proxies too. And I don't want to like do that. I don't want to like tell people how to play the game. But I'm like, if you're proxying like these $100 cards to a game, and like you're joining a commander lobby where the ranking is like 6 to 7 or something like that, you know, it's just like no one's gonna want to play with you, dude. Like instantly having those cards brings it up to like an 8 or a 9.
Right.
It's insane.
Right.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of the barrier to entry in like every card game is once all the new cards get released,
Yes.
and you have to either pay for it or use the old cards.
Absolutely, yeah. And like Magic's just one of those things where it's weird because like the newer cards, like they are valuable and you want to get your hands on them, but it's also the same thing where the older ones are really valuable too.
Yeah.
And they could also help you out. It's just it's definitely a weird game, but it definitely is fun.
Because like I got into that card game Marvel Snap a while ago. I told you guys,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's getting to that point where they're releasing so many new cards, and it's like, if you want to build all the top decks, you need these new cards. And the way you can unlock them in game if you play a lot, or you can spend some money and just speed up the process a little bit.
Dude, even Marvel Snap is like still iffy because like it's one of those time stores that like this card will only be here for 12 hours or whatever, and everything else is random packs. So like you can't even target buying the meta most of the time, man. Like it's all like luck based.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the hard thing for me is like I've put a decent amount of time into that game, and I have bought some of the battle passes before because I did play it a lot. But now I'm at the point where like with all the new cards coming out, they have a ladder mode.
This is
a
a
ranked.
This is a mobile game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They have like a ranked ladder mode is like the main mode, and I used to get pretty high up there, but now I haven't played, and I get reset back towards the bottom. And at the bottom of the ladder, I'm playing these guys with like the new meta decks and getting destroyed still. Like,
Nice.
like it's pretty insane, And
It's funny how that happens even in a card game too, because I feel like that's just you get the slap on the the mic.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just a common theme in games just to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, if you're on a rank system, like, and you're trying to work your way up, you're
Man,
always
she's thirsty.
I apologize
You're
for all
good.
the listeners out there. My dog is hydrating right now. She's very dehydrated.
That's a good thing. Good
Yeah.
for her.
But yeah, no, it's like a thing with all these games. I'm starting to notice, like, as soon as you hit like a rank system, like it's just they all suffer from the same thing. You're gonna be playing like people that just should not be on that level.
Yeah.
It's like, why? I feel like I'm the only one going up against like these people that belong in like the top tier of whatever that game
yeah,
is.
totally.
It's insane.
I feel like I've had that problem ever since I've become an adult. And I don't have a ton of time to sink into a lot of games.
Yes.
Like I played Valorant for a little bit, and then they just keep releasing like more and more characters, and I'm like, I don't want to spend the time, nor do I have all the time to like learn all these new characters.
Absolutely.
And it's like, oh well, this character is the meta. And like everybody's using that character and just like destroying everybody else with it.
You're just like, I don't even know that character's name.
Yeah. That was the thing I liked about Counter-Strike is that they never update that game.
Yeah,
But then at the same time, it gets kind of boring because they just never update that game.
absolutely.
They released Counter-Strike 2 like half a year ago, and I don't think it's got a single like significant update since.
At least they release something. Like, I feel like Valve hasn't put before Counter-Strike 2. It's been a minute since
Yeah.
they put anything out.
Yeah, there was Half-Life Alyx, the VR
Yeah.
game, and other than that,
Just nothing much after.
They're
that.
just coasting, man. They're
Yeah.
making all that passive
Yeah.
revenue.
I mean, why? Yeah, why would you honestly want to make games like?
I mean, they get into like
pull it
crazy
in.
stuff like VR and all
Yeah.
that. You know, I feel like they're always trying something new and weird, like
Absolutely.
VR or Steam Decks,
Mhm.
all that stuff. Like,
Trying to widen the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's cool because no other company takes the liberty to do all this weird stuff like they do.
they're private too, right? They're not
Yeah,
public.
I believe so.
See, that makes sense to me. It's just like once you get that big as a private company, like you can just do whatever the hell you
Yeah,
want.
well, they're not trying to like answer to profits or
exactly.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it sucks because I guess simultaneously it's like they made all these good games because of that, because they're not just like pushing stuff out.
Exactly. Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't have to make those games
Mhm.
when like you're like, man, it would be really cool to get Half-Life, Portal,
Left 4 Dead.
Left 4
Yeah.
Dead, whatever else, or just new stuff.
You're not going to get a 3 of anything.
Yeah.
That's their staple, dude.
Yeah.
They avoid the threes as hard as possible.
It's crazy thinking like people that are like growing up and playing games now will like probably never play a Valve game unless they
Yeah.
want to play like a
Dude.
retro game, you
Yeah.
know?
Speaking of like the new generation of gamers, like what is a console even for people who grew up on like mobile?
Yeah.
You think they're just streaming to their Fire Stick in like 10 years? Like a what are all the streaming services? Amazon.
Like
I think
Hulu
everyone's kind
and,
of
like,
picking
all
it
that
up.
I mean, I would say that I think that for the new generation of gamers, what I'm seeing is an increase in PC gaming.
Yeah.
If anything, because I remember myself growing up, and probably was the norm for a majority of us, right? Was consoles. Like, it was a big console wars, the PlayStation 1, and then there was the Sega, and like there was, with the PS2, there's the Xbox that came out, and then that was the divide. It was like, which one are you?
Yeah.
Are you Sony or are you Microsoft? Are you,
I mean,
And then there was Nintendo just doing their own thing, and just everybody agreed, yeah, Nintendo is just great.
Yeah.
I mean, even looking at it, speaking of games like Counter-Strike, like back in the early 2000s and everything, like Counter-Strike and all these games were like super niche, like
Yeah.
it was, PC gaming in general was,
Right.
Pretty niche.
It's becoming like the
Now
norm.
it's now you Counter-Strike and League of Legends, these are all like the most popular games in the world.
100%.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen like some kind of Facebook post or some post on Reddit where it's like some kid like getting a gaming PC for Christmas or something like that. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, right? Like,
Woo! It's like, yeah.
But even then, like the games that are taking over is fucking Minecraft, Roblox, Fortnite.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
I feel like they're not expanding to
I think
actual.
kind of the connective thing of all of those is that they're, games that are like kid friendly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it makes it a lot easier. Like if I was in like middle school or even elementary school, like I remember in elementary school even playing a lot of like random, like cool math games or whatever. It's like they've upgraded from like cool math games to Minecraft and stuff like that and Roblox. Like
Pajama Sam.
Yeah.
Putt Putt.
Yeah,
All that
like
stuff.
Bloons Tower Defense. But the point I was going to get to was like, it seems the games that are taking over for that younger generation is like the find your own fun type of games.
Yeah, they're very open-ended.
Like, how is a Call of Duty supposed to survive besides off of our backs of like, like 30-plus-year-old guys who grew up playing Call of Duty, so they're going to keep playing Call of Duty.
I think that's one of those generational games, to be honest with you. I don't think they're going to have a problem doing it because they've ingrained themselves in with like, the 30-year-olds, the 20-year-olds, and now we're starting to see it with that new generation as well. Like, yeah, even these new kids, like, yeah, they're on Warzone and they're killing it.
It's almost like Call of Duty has become like what Madden or 2K is for
Yes.
first-person
Yeah.
shooters.
Yep.
It's like every year they're gonna sell the new game. People are gonna be like, "Oh, there's better first-person shooters out there," but it's gonna consistently sell.
Yeah.
I mean, I think at the same time, it's like if you ask, like, if you went up to a random person on the street and ask them, like, do you play any games? It's gonna be like Madden, 2K, or Call of Duty. You know,
Correct.
like,
Yep.
that's just the games that everybody knows and plays, and probably Fortnite now. You know, like,
Yeah.
you know. So I feel like I mean, I think the interesting thing is the rise of multiplayer games like that. Like, you know, I'm curious, you know, how many single player games are gonna be going.
PlayStation got that unlocked, dude. Like, that's kind of their thing. They spent so much money on Spider-Man, and like, I think it's to like drive their own brand more than anything, more than like profits. Is to like, hey, we're PlayStation. We're gonna give you like these single player experiences that no other console is gonna give you.
Yep.
But at the same time, I think I saw that the Spider-Man 2 budget was something insane, like $300 million, like somewhere around there.
I
Like,
believe it.
I think it honestly goes back to like the PS3 and Xbox 360 days, because even then the online like multiplayer community for Xbox 360 I felt was way more competitive and more active and lively than the PlayStation 3 online community.
Definitely.
So I think that like because I had a Xbox 360 originally, and then later on I traded it in for a PlayStation 3 because I wanted to play The Last of Us,
Yeah.
and I wanted to play like those single player PlayStation exclusives. But I remember trying to play some multiplayer on PlayStation 3, and the lobbies were dead silent.
Yeah.
Nobody had their mics on or anything. Then you go into Xbox 360 game chat, and it is just violent.
Yeah.
Just straight
That's one word
debauchery.
for it.
So yeah, I think maybe that's what it is. Like PlayStation or Sony, you know, they realized early on in the online like meta that like our gamer base prefers the single player games. Xbox leaned heavily into the multiplayer.
Did PlayStation 4 ever include a microphone in it?
Yeah, it came with one, but it was terrible.
Yeah, it was
Right.
awful.
I think Sony is carving out their niche in the same way that Nintendo is. Like, Nintendo's got their own thing going on, but I think Sony is going for consistently good single-player experiences. They're kind of saying...
And they're winning.
Yeah, they are.
They're doing
I don't.
it well.
I don't know the last PlayStation game that was bad. That was regarded as bad.
Right.
yeah, I mean, I've know even something like Days Gone that came out a little while ago that, you know,
I know people
so
that love
hot.
Days
Yeah, I was
Gone.
gonna say,
Yeah.
like, you know, I've heard people come back and be like, oh, that game was actually pretty good. You know, like, I think it was just by
Like,
PlayStation
the reception
standards.
initially is a little lukewarm, but afterwards people are like, "Oh no, that game was
I think it's
actually
just by
really good."
PlayStation standards when you
Yeah.
compare it to The Last of Us and Uncharted and everything. Like,
Mm-hmm.
God of War.
yeah, like, you know, kind of just a fun zombie game is not gonna be as cinematic and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
know.
of cinematic, Ghost of Tsushima, Jesus, dude, that game was beautiful.
That was
They
beautiful.
literally have a cinematic mode like for the game.
Have you seen the
Don't play,
multiplayer
just
for
watch.
that?
Yes, I
The-
played
the-
a little bit too.
Dude, it's I haven't played it because I don't have a PS5, but like that multiplayer sounds crazy. It's can you explain it better than me? I hope you can.
A little bit. So personally, I liked that they included it. It wasn't for me because, again, I don't play games and I'm more of a single player person. I will say it was kind of like you had these different levels. You would kind of join a party with other people. There was these different classes that you could join or like kind of focus on. And it was like you had different objectives depending on what the mission for that level entailed. So I think it was... I don't know of any multiplayer games that I could compare it to that was like that.
Kind of sounds like Mass Effect.
A little bit, yeah. Honestly, it was a little bit like Mass Effect 3's multiplayer.
I just remember like
Yeah, let's see that.
multiple objectives going on at the same time, so your party would have to split. But like the classes were like, this dude's an archer, this dude's like good at parries, and you know, so on and so forth. And
Right.
just it seemed like, and just a bunch of dudes at the same time, which
Yeah.
is not what the regular game was like. The regular game was more like 1-on-1 and occasionally like 3 at a time, but that was probably it. Like 2 and 1 ranged guy.
I don't know. I felt like I had the entire camp chasing me.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, ah.
Piss them off. You could definitely get a little army after you.
Right.
But it feels good, you know, because if you're good at the game, you just there's just a pile of bodies all around you when you're done. You're just like, oh yeah, that's
like some Kill Bill stuff. Like,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, going back to what Brendan said about PlayStation kind of carving out a niche, I feel like that's what Microsoft has been trying to do for the last, like, 2 years, is figure out their niche, you know? Like,
figure it out, yes, that's a good
because, you know, PlayStation, they've had the single-player games for ever, almost, you know? Like, they've had companies like Naughty Dog and Insomniac ever since they started, and...
I'm worried for them.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
I was just about to say my biggest worry is that their niche is like going for the mainstream. Like the reason why they bought Activision Blizzard was just to get big titles into Game Pass and then just try and get the biggest amount. Like they're going for population.
They're going for marketing, yeah.
Not necessarily like a specific style.
Well, I feel like it's kind of funny because at the same time, in a lot of the games I've played on Game Pass, like the best ones are a lot of the smaller, more indie games.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, they're buying these huge companies like, you know, Bethesda and Blizzard and Activision and everybody, but, like, a lot of the better games I can think of are, like, you know, very, like, independent companies, you know, like, I played this game, Venba, around the holiday time, and it's this, like, 2-hour cooking game about an immigrant family moving to Canada and... you know, them relating to their home through cooking and stuff like that. And it was like a kind of a beautiful game.
Yeah.
And it was like better than any Activision or Bethesda game I've played in the last like 5 years, you know?
It wasn't formulated like how they normally do their games.
Well, maybe that is like the whole like point, like the direction they're going is simply just Xbox Game Pass. And like when I used to work at GameStop, that was the biggest selling point for me for people who are like Xbox or PlayStation. And I would say honestly, Xbox has the Xbox Game Pass, and that you know, years ago when it, you know, was still relatively new, was just like, I think that is something that PlayStation could definitely learn from. Was incorporating something similar, and they tried to do something by having the different tier system for the PlayStation.
They made it complicated,
but it's complicated, and honestly, it's not what the PlayStation fans wanted.
No,
at all. So
absolutely not.
Yeah, I feel like if I was sorry to interrupt. I feel like if I was just buying a console for the first time, you know, like if you buy an Xbox and pay what $15, like you get what, like 100 or so games maybe, and you know, you get Madden and FIFA and stuff like that are on it too. And like if I just wanted to buy a console and mess around and see what I liked, or if I was buying a console for the first time, like Game Pass would be the coolest thing ever, you know?
Yeah, and you'd be surprised. Like before working at GameStop, I thought like there was plenty of people who were already set in their ways, but no, I had a lot of customers who came in and was like, which one should I get? I'm like, well, what kind of games do you like to play? And I'm like, I don't know, you know. And then sometimes I would rarely recommend a Switch, and that was for the people who were like, you know, I just really like casual, but just really fun and well developed game like Nintendo.
Yes,
Nintendo all the way. But yeah.
Do you remember when Jim Ryan, the head of PlayStation, said like nobody wants to play those old PlayStation games? It's like, yo,
Nah, dude, that's all we want.
that's your history. That's what your company is built off of, dude.
Seriously.
dude is out of touch.
There is this one game that I'm so sad that is not on the PlayStation, and if it was, I would 100% pay for the highest tier of PlayStation Plus. It is ESPN2 Extreme Sports.
I think I remember
That game on the PlayStation 1, that was revolutionary. It was a racing game that incorporated skateboarding, bicycling, rollerblading, and luging. Like people were like on a luge board, all on the same racetrack, racing against each other. There was like obstacles in the way you could punch and kick each other. That game was phenomenal. And I remember looking at it and like seeing the graphics of the map and being like, oh my god, I feel like I'm actually riding a bike down Lake Tahoe or something like that. And then looking back at it now, I'm like, how the hell did I even see where I was supposed to go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, I remember I had a PlayStation 1 and I only had one game for it. It was a baseball game. Nothing against baseball, it just wasn't what I wanted to play as far as video games go. But my sister's boyfriend at the time let me borrow 3 games One was a NASCAR game. They were all car games. One was a NASCAR game, and I don't remember the other. But the third was Destruction Derby. Still have never played. The closest thing I played was I know it as the next car game, but it's called Wreckfest. Wreckfest, thank you. Yeah, that Wreckfest has come close to it, but it's not as chaotic as I would like. But Destruction Derby was so crazy; it was just exactly what it sounds like. But there was one map where it was a giant bowl, and everybody would start at the top of the bowl and then just crash in the middle, and you would die right away. But it was still
no objective,
so cool.
just have fun.
That's the kind of games that like get you going as a kid, though. You're just like, I don't care about anything. I just like I want to smash cars.
It was that find your own fun game, man. Like I get it now.
I specifically remember Blitz and Slugfest, not because I was playing football or baseball, but because I was tackling people or punching people for no reason.
I feel like I was watching a video on that recently. How like sports games have gotten so much more
They're also
uninteresting.
tame, yeah.
Like, it's all just simulations now, where, in the 90s and 2000s, we had, Blitz and NBA Jam and all this other stuff, and, like, sports games that, like, people that don't even like sports would like. Whereas, like, now, sorry to interrupt, but if you don't like basketball, you're not going to play 2K,
That's true.
It's crazy how the arcade feel has like just totally vanished. That's kind of why I look at Windjammers and I'm just like, that's a solid game that like anybody can pick up and play because the controls are basic, but it's still like action packed and competitive in a way where if you give it to a group of new people who have never played Windjammers, they're gonna all start getting good together.
It was really fun. I remember you and Benny showing me that game, and I was like, I don't know, and like it was a little bit hard for me at first, but I started playing it, and I was like, this is just really good fun. Before we knew it, like hours had passed, and we're just like playing this game. It was, you don't. It's rare to find a game like that nowadays, where it's just so simple but just so fun.
Yep, 100%.
Everything goes simulation, man, and it just loses its like initial appeal, I guess.
I feel like everything is just so like formulaic and perfect now, where you're not gonna get like a weird NBA Jam type of game where like, or Blitz where you're just like hitting people nonstop.
And I hate to say it, but I think that a lot of it is because it's a proven business model. And at the end of the day, it is a business, right? It's an entire industry, and they run it like what works, what generates profits. And I feel like that's where a lot of the soul in the video game making is lost. And that's why a lot of like these indie games that come out that are so attractive, and they become so popular because it's a refreshing breath of air from the norm of everything.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what I was saying about a lot of Game Pass games, I think that's it, where a lot of these smaller games are more different and more unique compared to, an Activision, a lot of their releases. And I feel like that's why Prince of Persia, the newest one, is so refreshing, because it's a big company doing a more unique game like that, which is like a breath of fresh air.
They needed it too. I'm so afraid for Ubisoft. Like, just hands down.
Man, after
After Mirage and like, oh god, what was the last Watchdog game? Legion.
Was Mirage bad? I thought they were supposed to go back to like feeling like the originals.
They did. The problem is, it's just they just reskinned Valhalla, and Valhalla's an RPG. So it's like, you can go back and you can, bring all the good things about AC.
So they said they were going back, but they didn't actually go back.
They did,
enough.
but not far enough. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I mean, I feel like the thing with all of these games too is like there's just so many.
yeah,
And the differences are so small between all of them that like any Call of Duty and every like Assassin's Creed and all that stuff, like
It's just also oversaturated, and that's why something like Hi-Fi Rush hit so hard.
Yeah.
well, again, like a more unique game made by a smaller company, like that really took a chance.
I'm just it sticks with me because like they see the business model, right, that they have had for the past 10 years, and it just isn't working. Like look at what they're doing now with like Skull and Bones. Like I remember back in 2014 when they announced that game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And everyone was like, yo, if they just made like this portion of AC4 into a game, like I'll buy it. but they're 10 years too late.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of showing, and I don't know like one person that's going to buy that game.
10 years,
10
dude.
They've sat on that for a while.
It's been so long, and like I feel so bad for him too, because I'm just like, how cool would that be? You know, like an Assassin's Creed pirate game like AC4, but you get to do all the fun shit. But they took out all the fun shit. I can't go on land anymore. I can for like a social hub, but that's it. I can't fight ship to ship with a pirate, like with a sword in my hand, you know? It's just like you took out everything that was fun about this game, and I get it. It was probably just due to like development hell. Like I would just want to rush the game out too at 10 years. But at the same time, it's like if you're going to just go ahead and do it anyway, make sure it's good. Because now it's just like it looks like a looter. It looks like how Anthem looked at launch. Like it looks okay, but the gameplay's ass.
Right.
Well, I feel like the big thing right now is so many companies like chasing that high of the 2K and the Call of Duty and the Grand Theft Auto. And the thing is, like, all the games that stick are like the biggest IPs ever, like Grand Theft Auto and NBA and Destiny, you know, which is made by Bungie, who is like one of the biggest companies for shooters ever. Like,
Yes.
you know, what was the last time that one of these service games actually was like brand new and came and stayed? I feel like it doesn't work. But like a lot of the games that don't work are games like Skull and Bones or you know, Avengers or something like that, which Avengers has the brand, but it's just like so hard to get something like that to stick, you know?
Do you think they're all oversaturating them? They're all killing themselves, dude.
Right.
Everybody's got a dog in the fight, so it's just a bunch of dogs fighting each other, and like they're all sucking each other's blood, dude. Like no one can gain traction like that.
I'm just tired of all the live service stuff. Like, let a game run its course and move on.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of afraid for Helldivers 2. We talk about this all the time because Helldivers 2 is talking about their monetization now, and it sounds a little less offensive than a lot of other games. It's more similar to like Chivalry 2, but I'm still terrified. Just give me a good game. I don't need to play it for the next 10, 20 years.
Absolutely.
You know what sucks, man? Fucking. I am, like, I thought, while you were talking, I thought about it. I'm like, I'm actually a diehard Ubisoft fan, but only for Wildlands, Division. Like, those are my two games, and I will no life the fuck out of those games. All they got to do is put out another one, and I'm back in, dude.
I'm with you. I'm a Ubisoft stan as much as the next guy. I love Ubisoft, but like these past 10 years, these past 10 years, I can say that truly now have been heartbreaking. I think the last one I've had a Ubisoft game was probably AC Unity.
Ooh.
And that one was...
I'm sorry, dude.
I heard Unity had that issue where like it was buggy at launch, but people now are like, Unity was great.
Yes.
Because it was actually really good once you look past all the, really bad.
Absolutely.
I've always wanted to go back and uninstall all updates and then just run it at like, what is 1.0 look like?
You won't get to play it. It was, oh my god, it was terrible. But yeah, no, it's phenomenal now. Like, at least the parkour, the story is it's an AC story.
Yeah.
Did the multiplayer actually work?
Yeah, it was.
Assassin's Creed multiplayer is
Right.
the most unique thing. I don't know how it was in Unity, but I'm talking like 2. 2's multiplayer was one of the coolest things. Just like trying to find out who is your target, like what's an NPC, what's a player.
Yes,
that was so fun.
That's where like there was only like 8 character models or something within an entire group.
Yeah, it was funny, and you could like transform people into your character model.
Yes.
It was weird, but they really leaned into like the animus like side of things.
They did.
And it was a really unique experience.
I don't have any familiarity with it, but it kind of sounds like Call of Duty's Prop Hunt, like where you're like, is it something
It's
along
similar
those
to
lines?
a prop hunt, yeah.
And that is why Call of Duty's Prop Hunt is the best game mode. And they only bring it back. They like give you a taste. All right, here's Prop Hunt for like a week, maybe. Oh my god!
All right, let's go and bring the adults back in, get the babies out of here.
I am so sick. All right, like I jumped back into Modern Warfare, the remake, the 2019 I think version.
Yes.
And I just pressed quick play and didn't really like think about it, but I should have thought about it because it just kept throwing me into shipment and shoot house. And I was like, dude, I've played this so much. I just want to do real maps, man.
It's just people grinding camos now.
Yes.
All you get is shipment and shoot house.
Who the fuck cares about camos like 4 years after
do
that
have to
game?
say,
It's so weird.
I didn't really care because I have a lot of friends who are like, oh, I got like the obsidian or like the whatever,
Yes.
the Damascus skin or whatever, right? And my crowning achievement was getting the platinum shield.
There we go.
The platinum shield and the knife. That was it. That's all I needed, baby.
Yeah.
You're the worst of the worst, dude.
It was just to troll people, man. Because that's how I have fun in a Call of Duty. Because everybody takes it so seriously and grinds it so hard.
Yes.
And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna have fun. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
you can't get me. Just like,
People like that playstyle. Like I have a couple friends that do like that. Like they will sit on a game and they won't stop playing it until they 100% it. Like it's insane. I'm just like, I don't know how y'all do that. Much respect, but it's like every single game. They're like, I'm not gonna stop till I have every single camo or every single achievement.
Right.
And I'm just gonna keep going and going and going until I get it. I'm like, you are like the best person I could have in my life because
I think that's called
all you
autism.
do. Yeah, that's or it's your autism, one of the two.
He's highly artistic.
But yeah, I was just like, it blows my mind because I don't know how people do that. Like when I play a game, like I play it to get what I want out of it, and then if there's nothing there for me anymore, I'm done. Like I'll come back to it eventually, but if it is something like Hunt Showdown or a multiplayer game like that, where it's like, okay, yeah, no, this is fine. I'll probably play it for like a month, and then I'm gonna hop off of it and do something else. But you're always gonna come back to it, you know.
But the battle pass, you
But
don't
the
feel
battle
that compulsion to come back.
They're not
That guilt.
done. They're not done sucking the money out of you.
I just spent $35. I'm going to give
Yeah, no, I'll be back.
I
Trust
hate this game, but I'm gonna keep playing it.
Yeah.
spent $70 on the game and then another $200 in battle passes for each season.
But see, that's why Fortnite is so good, because if you get all the way to the Battle Pass, you get like Peter Griffin.
You're tantalizing me, man.
So I'm like, I want to keep playing. I need to finish the Battle Pass and get
So
Peter.
tired of this game, but I need Peter.
Yeah, Peter Griffin and Solid
This-
Snake. Like,
you know,
what more could you ask for?
it's crazy because this all never would have happened if in Oblivion they didn't release
The horse
the
armor.
horse armor DLC. Which, you know what?
This is what you're blaming.
I bought it. I bought the horse
Yeah.
armor DLC in
you're still
Oblivion.
buying
I didn't have the
Battle
option. PlayStation didn't get it.
It was $3, and you bet your ass I bought it.
It's like you're blaming the DLC
The domino
fad on
effect.
This is
No, he's not blaming
Todd.
the DLC. He's blaming Todd.
Oh.
Todd started this.
now here we are. Now we have Nicki Minaj.
Todd Howard. More
Todd's
like,
got a hand in everything.
more like fraud coward. That's what that fucking chump. You started this. This is why Starfield's ass.
Yo, what's weird is like I'm starting to experience something similar in Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. So like I've been streaming it for a couple of days, for like almost 2-3 weeks now. I don't remember, but all right. So look, Metroid Dread. I don't remember what year it came out, but it was my game of the year that year.
Okay.
I beat it in 8.5 hours, and I was like, dude, this is fucking perfect. It's short, it's sweet, it's in and out, and I had a great time the entire time.
Yeah.
Prince of Persia.
Starting to drag, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's fucking sick, dude. Man, the combat is so good. It's stylish. I actually really enjoy the story and the characters and everything. It's just like, it's 2 areas longer than I really want it to be. I even turned on the guided mode, so it's showing me objectives, which typical Metroidvanias don't do. And it's super helpful, but like I just really want it to be done.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't even know how many hours in I am. I want to say like 12.
Okay.
But that might just be a guess. And I'm on the last boss. I just want it to be done.
Yeah, I feel
It's a weird feeling of just like, I'm having a great time. It's just too long of a time.
Gotcha.
A lot of games lately just want to hold you a bit too long. I had that feeling with Doom Eternal. Now, it could be because I played it on the hardest difficulty because I'm an asshole like that. But near the end, the later half of that game, I just started getting such a sour taste in my mouth, and I was like, I just want to be done with it. I want to move on, but it wouldn't let me go. And
Yeah.
everything just wants to hold you for way too long now.
Speaking of, so everyone, I know this has kind of been a hot topic ever since the Prince of Persia game came out. How do y'all feel about like all those black characters having the
Oh,
I think I saw what you're talking.
Hold on, what are you
Yeah,
talking about?
The
all have the
warmonger,
same
right?
The comb
Yeah.
over dreads.
Because it's true. I like when I started Spider-Man, I was like, oh,
Miles
sure,
Morales.
yeah.
I
Miles
watched a
Morales has
video
it.
on YouTube just the other day of a guy complaining that all black characters have that now.
Yes, it's so weird. Like I thought it was just a niche thing, but like apparently,
Yeah, just look up Killmonger.
yeah,
All characters are getting it now.
it's just all the black characters. I was like, y'all are really showing
Okay.
like black people here.
I get it. I get it now.
It's a style, man. I don't know what.
Yeah, but like so are other black people. Like just
It's a
because they don't
cool
have their
style,
hair
but not many people
done.
actually do it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I got you.
but like just because like you know maybe like some black people want to do their hair, you know, because just for an obvious like amount of reasons, right? There's just you know the different hair length, different stuff like that. Like I don't know if they like the developers just don't want to do that, or if it's just like this weird haircut that just kind of like ingrained itself into like our.
It's a pop culture icon.
Maybe
in
it's
itself at
maybe
this
it's a
point.
design thing. Like, is it just easier to just do? Like, I don't know.
Kind
Is
of.
it?
Hold up. I got it.
I feel like a
So
buzz
the-
cut would be easier
The
though.
the timeline works out in this way. Fucking what is that movie called? Black Panther came out. Now a couple of years later, we have the warmonger haircut.
Because the
We
kids
have-
that watched it grew up with it, and now they're like, I want that.
Now we have the Edgar haircut, and 3 years from now we're gonna have an Edgar haircut
I mean,
protagonist.
It looks good. It like I'm not complaining about it. It's just that like it seems like every black protagonist or like black male protagonist in a game now is starting to get this haircut.
Yeah.
I'm just like, there's so many like
You can do
better-
more.
Yeah. I'm just like, I don't know. Like I would have liked to see. I would have liked to see Miles with like a low taper fade or something. I don't.
Of course, it would be a low taper
Some-
fade.
something, I don't.
You
I want
fucking-
like a disco afro. That's what I
Yeah,
want.
see something like a new character option. I'm just like, it's getting the Killmonger cut is getting overdone. You know.
When they get Miles that insane Adidas outfit.
Yes. Yeah.
I haven't seen that. What are you talking
I'll
about?
show you.
Oh man.
Yo, Brandon, tell me about Power World, man.
Tell you about Power World. Power World is it's an infestation in your life, and it's another one of those things that lasts way too long. It's good. It's a fun game. It's got some issues like every other early access. What I'm more interested in, other than Power World, is, correct me if I'm wrong, did I see you playing Enshrouded?
Yes, sir.
How is
Oh,
it?
dude,
It's
yeah.
phenomenal.
Really?
I'm a lot more interested in Enshrouded.
I need to, because my friends want me to play Power World 2.
It's all right. Give it a shot.
I think I will, just because I'm still playing Pokemon. Yeah, I'm like almost fucking 30 and I'm still playing Pokemon.
Wait, hold up. For real?
Yes,
Same.
bro, absolutely.
The most recent one?
Yes.
We got to come back to
Yeah.
that. I would love to hear you. But go on about
Absolutely.
Enshrouded.
But yeah, no, I saw Power World. I was just like, it seems cool, but like at the time I was just like, I don't know, it's not really for me, because like I'm still very much in the headspace that like Valheim's gonna be the thing to top, you know, as far as it comes to like what I want in a survival game.
Yeah.
And Enshrouded is damn close.
How aggressive is Enshrouded in their grinding? Because Power World is very bad. It's one of the slowest survival games I've played, and just the amount of stuff you have to go back and like, oh, I need oil now. Let me go kill things for an hour. It's a slog.
I would say it's very similar to Valheim. Like
Valheim had its bad parts.
yes.
Okay.
I haven't really gotten too much into the like base building aspect of it, but from what I've seen, it's not too bad. I think I spent maybe 10 minutes building a little crappy wooden hut, and then it's from there you can go do whatever you want. It's like a quick little tutorial section that takes maybe 30 minutes. You do what you need to get done, and then the entire world is open up to you to just do whatever the hell you want.
Nice.
Yes.
And the thing that really grabs me with Enshrouded though is, like, it's a survival game, but it's also an action RPG.
Yes.
So, like, you have all these skill trees that you can branch off into. It's not just like you're not just the pal trainer. You are somebody special. You're a wizard. You're a trickster. You're a warrior. you can kind of do whatever you want, and I think that's what Power World is missing, is like a sense of the character actually being what you want it to be.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's more so you find the pals that you like and then you throw them out.
You can be the Power World trainer or the slave driver. And that's really it.
I think that's
those two things are one and the same.
I've seen a lot of like plantation style memes.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? What really is Power World?
Yeah, that's another thing that got me going. I'm just like, there are a lot of people that have like some problems with it. Like, I get it. It's probably just content for TikTok.
When I was going through my breeding period in Power World, I was making them work overtime. So I get it.
I feel like there's going to be a civil war. We're going to have a Sherman's March in Power World. You know, we're going to burn Power World's Atlanta to the ground.
What's the sexy one called? The Lavender, right?
That's the scary one. That's the Predator one.
You're just like, you keep fucking that thing right now. I need like 10 pals.
Power World has its equivalent to a Pokédeck. It's the PAL deck.
Okay.
Not at all a copyright claim, right?
Yeah,
there.
no.
But
100%.
if you go to Lavender in there, it says something like, This pal used to prey on other pals, but in recent years it has begun preying on humans.
What? I might need to get that
Power
game.
World's very dark.
I might need to get that game.
Pokemon is very dark too, though. Like there's some Pokédex entries for like Pokemon, like in the game that you're like in the show of the anime, whatever you want to call it, right? Mm-hmm. It's literally like, oh, these are cool, but like you read the Pokédex entries, like for like Grimer or Muck, it's like. I think the one for Muck is like it leaves a like environmental disaster like everywhere, like destroying the environment with its trail of like acid, essentially. It's like, oh my god,
Driftbloom's another scary one.
Yeah,
he just carries children up with him and lets them go. I'm like, that is crazy. That is insane. That's dark.
Here's another dark thing in Power World for you. Throughout the map, there's little encampments of like poachers and stuff that have captured pals.
Okay.
So you can go in there, murder all the poachers, and rescue the pal that they have saved, and it'll add it to your collection. But I noticed the other day, I went in there, killed all the poachers, rescued the pal, and there's a wolf pal. His name is Direhow.
Okay.
These dudes just marched into the camp and started eating the dead bodies that I killed. And, like, that is something you will never see from Pokemon. And Power World was like, yeah, they're going to eat human meat. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I feel like that's the thing about Power World to me, though, as somebody that hasn't played it yet, is it seems like Pokemon, but edgy.
Fair.
Yeah.
Very fair, yeah.
And I feel like that's why it's become, like, a huge meme.
It works. That's what everybody wanted. Not only is it a huge meme, it's actually it's a relatively polished game.
Yeah. Like, it just seems a little, like, like, edgy, like,
Definitely.
I would like to try it out eventually.
It's a fun time.
Enshrouded's just like
it's enshrouded your life.
Yeah, it's enshrouded my life. It really.
To me, what Power World looks like is those, like, videos where it's like we made Mario in Unreal Engine and we gave him an AK-47.
Yeah, I can see that completely.
That's insane. Yeah, it's just it's really fun. I would recommend it because you can, pickaxe in an entire hillside, and if you want to make a little hobbit house, you can do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I saw like their terraforming how it's like voxel based. You can it's like Valheim, but it looks better in that aspect.
Better,
you can just carve into whatever you want. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, Valheim's terraforming was such a nightmare trying to get a level space.
Yes.
Oh god.
If they can just fix that, let us dig underground or something, it'll probably be the best one.
All in all, my synopsis on Power World is if I didn't get it for free, I probably wouldn't be playing it.
Okay.
But it's all right.
Your
Give it a shot.
Oh, this week's sponsor is my friend that bought me Power World.
Oh my goodness. I don't think we heard tabletop from y'all.
Yeah, you guys were going in on the tabletop.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to back.
So anyway, Magic the Gathering. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So anyways, while we were talking, I spent $1,000 on Magic.
Yeah.
I had to find
Gotcha,
my
gotcha.
investment point.
All right.
I wasn't ready to
see.
talk about it yet.
We will come back. We're going to take our first break. Thanks for watching. Welcome back to Games and Stuff and Things.
Here we go.
We're gonna kill the mood, dude, because we're gonna talk about some layoffs and some video game cancels. First up, we got Embracer Group, which, in case you don't know, Embracer Group is an investment company that has done some real shitty stuff. For example, they bought out Eidos Montreal, and now they're canceling the next Deus Ex follow-up. Man, have y'all ever played Deus Ex? Any of them?
Yeah,
Hell
I played
yeah.
the Human Revolution. Yeah,
Pistol
I
with the
have-
silencer sneaking. That's the way to go.
I have Mankind Divided, but never tried it out.
Amazing. Honestly, well, it wasn't like, honestly, I think Human Revolution was amazing, and then Mankind Divided was just kind of like, meh.
It's such a cool world that they have, though.
That was the first game that I actually felt like I had options. Like, if I built towards the stealthy route, I could just crawl through vents the entire fucking game.
I can interrogate this guy, or I can just shoot him in the face and say something happened.
I'm telling you, pistol, silencer, crouching through the whole game. That's the way to go.
I went loud. I don't care for stealth games. I went loud.
But you could also hack enemies. There was a bunch of ways to go. But sadly, we won't see a follow-up anytime soon. Hopefully the franchise itself isn't dead. But along with that, Microsoft just bought out Blizzard, Activision, and now they're canceling Odyssey, which was a game kind of in a survival game such as Valheim or, so on and so forth. After 6 years of development, man, Odyssey is now just gone. And it's real sad, but after 6 years of development, hell, maybe it's the right choice.
Are you sure?
I mean,
6 years of development and you still don't have like a thing figured out. It's probably best to get it to just you know what, cut your losses. Let's move on.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we will be lucky, and Skull and Bones will be. It will be just the box topper that we were all hoping for.
Did they ever show anything for Odyssey?
I've never seen anything.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything. Just words.
I know with a lot of these layoffs, a lot of companies really invested into video games when COVID happened, because since so many people were home, a lot of them started playing video games more and more. I know I played a lot more video games during the pandemic because I was just home all the time,
Right.
And so, I think kind of like what we talked about earlier with Spider-Man having a $300 million budget, it's like, when is the bubble gonna burst kind of thing of like, our game's just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger, but more and more people aren't playing them. It was more so during the pandemic when...
Yeah, we jumped real high and then we peaked and now it's just staying steady.
Yeah, it's like getting normal again. Compared to something like movies that went way down during the pandemic, but now are getting bigger and bigger again like they used to be, where movies make billions of dollars now, like we talked about, every game wants to be Grand Theft Auto and 2K or whatever, because those games make $1 billion or however much. But
well, due to the pandemic, two problems really happened. One is what you're talking about of just people are home, so they're gonna do things. They're gonna invest in money. They're gonna invest their money into things they can do it at home, which is typically video games and movies and whatever. But the second problem is borrowing money got really cheap. Interest rates went down, so a lot of companies saw this as an opportunity to let's speed run growth. So they started borrowing a shit ton of money, staffing up, expecting things to just stay the same, and now that gamers as a population has plateaued, they're starting to see oh shit, that growth isn't just gonna keep happening, which of fucking course it's not. It was a pandemic. It was a literally once in a lifetime event that's happening, and now we're starting to see the side effects, which is some really fucking terrible shit. Last year, 2023, there was almost 10,000 layoffs in video games alone. Dude, almost I want to say it was 200,000 jobs laid off in tech, which is a pretty broad thing. Everything's considered tech nowadays. But thanks to Kotaku, who has this article that's constantly updating, we're only a month into 2024, and 6,100 video game jobs have been laid off. Like, super terrible shit, man. Microsoft is one of them because of that merger that, like, you know, it's two companies merging into one, so, you know, you gotta trim some of the fat.
A lot
like,
of positions became redundant. Yeah.
It's excusable, but, like, still horrifying in a weird way.
I feel like a lot of it is inexcusable because, you know, like, I know Epic laid off a lot of people a few months ago, and it's like Epic makes one of the most popular, you know, I don't know how much money Fortnite makes off the top of my head, but
Enough
I
to
would
get,
assume
like,
it's
consistent,
one of
like,
the
things,
most profitable games out there, you know, similar to Grand Theft Auto levels or something like that. And, you know, so it feels wrong, you know, that games like Fortnite and, you know, companies like Epic are laying off people when, I would say from, like, a gaming perspective, like, you know, Fortnite, the quality is, like, the best it's ever been, but they're firing people. And, you know, I think there's so many amazing games that have come out recently, but people are, like, just getting fired left and right, you know?
I was really only excusing Microsoft just because of the merger, but, like, companies like Riot, who people perceive as, like, Riot's always doing their own thing. They're never going to be affected by the market. They're just always off in their own little world. Even they laid off like 500 jobs or so. Like, so if Riot of all people is feeling this impact, like, we're in trouble.
I don't know if I would say that. I think, like I said, with COVID, like, everybody saw, like, the line go up a ton, and they're like, okay, this is going to keep rising exponentially, and then it kind of, normalized, and it's like people are just playing games at a normal rate now.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, gaming's been growing for the last 40 years or whatever, but it's not growing at the insane rate that it was during COVID. I think a bigger problem that happened once the pandemic happened and stuff too is everybody working from home.
Yep.
And then a lot of companies told people to come back to the office and then just fired them after that, you know? Which, you know, I've been reading a lot of reports about how, you know, a lot of gaming cities or a lot of cities where companies are based are like California, like more expensive places to live. California and New York, you know, places like that. It's all big cities, and, you know, they ask people to come back to the office just to fire them after that.
Yes, yeah.
There's also a weird thing going on where, like, a lot of investment companies are scared to put their money into video games. So what does that mean for us in, like, 2 to 3 years? Like, are we just going to see a fucking video game wasteland where nothing's coming out, and what does come out is strictly only indies? Nothing against indies. They're probably going to be great. But what happens when the only
Like, what
AAA
happens to
game
the
is Madden,
blockbusters?
Call of Duty? Like, the typical ones you see, like...
Like I said, I feel like...
I think a drought is necessary to help bring some passion back into the industry.
But what about turning away talent who sees this industry the way it's going and just like, dude, fuck this. I know I can get a good programming job just in, like, cybersecurity. And, like, fuck video games, dude. Like, as much as I love video games, I'm going to pick the more secure, like, job security route.
Yeah.
Like I
think-
said... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I think that video games will always be around. We will always have AAA titles. The issue is that there won't be as many creative, unique AAA titles. And that is simply going back to what we kind of discussed previously. It's like they've already kind of figured out the formula as to what sells, right? And at the end of the day, it is a for-profit industry. So profits are going to drive the decision making at these levels for these AAA companies, right? Going back to Fortnite, right? We were talking about, like, well, I don't know how successful they were. I just pulled up this article that was talking about how in 2020 they had a revenue. Epic Games had a revenue of $5.1 billion. It hit $5.7 billion in revenue in 2021, and then it declined 9% in 2022 to 5.2 billion, and then an additional 15% in 2023. So while, don't get me wrong, still 5 billion,
Yeah, still
is still a lot. It is a decline.
Yes,
right? So,
that's what shareholders care about, though. Like, they want to see growth year after year. So what happens when they see even the biggest titan, say Epic or Fortnite, if they even see declining numbers for that, like, what makes them want to invest more into video games?
Well, I think part of it too is, like I said earlier, that with something like Spider-Man, games are growing so much bigger and bigger. So Spider-Man 2 cost $300 million to make, which was triple the budget of the first Spider-Man game, and like 300 million cost as much as like some of the biggest blockbuster movies, but movies usually make a lot more money than video games do. If you're comparing it to like Spider-Man movies. And at what point is a company gonna say like, okay, like that's enough money that we're putting into games? Like, something like Sony, like Spider-Man 2 is an amazing game, but $300 million is a lot of money to put into a game,
Yeah.
I feel bad for Bungie because they put out some really like doomsday style tweets where they were saying like, basically, if this expansion of Destiny 2 doesn't take off, Bungie as you know it will disappear. So they just got bought out by Sony, and now they're being swallowed by the machine. Like,
It also could just be a really shitty marketing strategy. They're trying to guilt everyone into buying.
dude, marketing strategy comes from PR. I don't feel like a tweet that's genuinely saying like, dude, we're fucked. Like, as you have grown to appreciate us, it won't exist anymore. That it's a cry for desperate. It's a desperate cry.
it's their Final Fantasy.
It's
It's their Destiny too.
all I'm saying is, if they put out Destiny 3, I will be there.
Oh, for sure. Two things I'm waiting for: Destiny 3 and Division 3.
So what I wonder is like, games are just so big and take 10 years to make now. Like, like I don't want to imagine what something like the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to look like in terms of time and budget. Like, I'm curious if, video games are going to kind of hit a wall where people say like, let's scale it back a little bit. Which I think they're better than ever right now. But like, with something like Spider-Man, like, if you gave somebody the original Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, could you say like, oh, well, Spider-Man 2 cost 3 times the budget to make it? I think it's kind of just unsustainable growth right now.
I think it'd be weird to look at because there's not much difference between the two games outside of a few mechanics.
Yeah, and,
It's just, it's definitely weird. Especially with the Microsoft stuff. As long as they don't touch Fable, I'm fine.
I don't know, man.
They haven't
Will Fable ever come out?
They haven't touched Fable in like 20 years, so you're good.
What a franchise, man.
Yes, I'm a franchise. I love Fable. I will glaze Fable to the day I die. Even Fable 3.
We don't talk about the Kinect one.
We won't talk about that one.
That didn't happen.
And the failed Dungeon Master one, but we don't have to talk about those. As long as they don't cancel, as long as they don't can this new one coming up, I'm fine with it.
I feel like it's already like people are ready to hate it though.
Yeah, people are already upset because they made the lady look kind of weird, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's weird. I don't know.
And I think Fable has always been weird, that's why it's been fun.
Absolutely.
They have so many fart jokes in there. It's like I know that Fable comes from a like real heart because there's so many fart jokes in there. It's almost like that this thing isn't focus tested to death because there's fucking fart jokes in there.
I'm a Peter Molyneux stan till the day I die, man.
Oh man.
There's just something about.
Hasn't he been saying some wild stuff though?
If he did, I don't know about that.
Okay.
And I would just like to put that forward.
I'll keep your rose-colored glasses on.
I'm just like, they're on. If he said some problematic stuff, I don't back that. I love the man's games. This is the separate the artist from the art kind of thing. We'll say that. Anything besides what Peter Molyneux did for Fable, I won't back. I may or may have not done.
I do love that at least in the first Fable game, that if your character was bald, it added like plus 50 to your attractiveness.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, because he was bald, so that's why.
Oh my god! One of my favorite
That's
missions
awesome.
in the first Fable was like, this dude is like, "Yo, man, like, my daughter needs somebody to get married to. You're pretty handsome, like, but like she doesn't really fuck with your hair." And so,
I love this mission.
so he makes your guy go to the barber shop, and you get like this ugly ass haircut, and you come back to him. He's like, "Man, perfect. But we gotta change up the mustache." He makes you get like this.
I
stupid
remember
curl.
this.
And then like after like 2 or 3 more times, you go back to him looking like an absolute fucking idiot. And then he's just like, "Man, I can't believe you fell for that. You're fucking stupid." Dude. Just leave you there on a beach.
Dude, the flip side of that coin, towards the end game, when you get this fucking like legendary sword and then you read up on it, it's like,
The Sword of Aeons?
I don't remember,
Or
dude.
Avos Tear?
I don't know. But when you read the description, it's like, yeah, it took 2 smithies to forge this sword, and as soon as they made it, they chopped off their own hands. I was like, dude, this is sick,
That's
man.
metal as fuck.
I was like, man,
God.
it can be goofy and also fucking cool as shit at the same time.
I remember, and then they released, it was like for the first Fable game, Fable The Lost Chapters.
Yes. Mhm.
Oh my god, just what a banger of a series, honestly. And Fable 2, so much fun.
Yes.
So busted with the flintlock pistol, like you
Yeah.
could basically turn that thing into a fully automatic. If you spec'd it right, you're just like bang 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 bang. You're like, Jesus Christ.
Oh.
I mean, I guess
What a
this
great
goes
game.
into how Microsoft has fumbled all of their great franchises, you know?
Yup.
Like,
I went out and I bought an Xbox 360 just so I could play those old titles that were just so good, like including Fable 2. And
I know they have, I don't know if you have gotten into backwards compatibility on like Xbox Series S or X, but like I bought a Series S because they have a payment plan for it. So it was like, oh, pay $20 for the next 10 months and you can,
It's not bad.
get this Xbox. And I did it just play like a bunch of Game Pass games. I played so much Skate 3 on that. Like that was like the first game I played of like, they have it on Game Pass and everything and backwards compatible, and I was like,
nice.
it still holds up.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Please go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that the updated one that they're making looks pretty good too. It's just called Skate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That one looks fun. I think that they're getting smarter with playing like on nostalgia for some of those games. It's just like, yeah, this will be good to get.
Speaking of Xbox, man, you want to talk about something?
There are some rumors floating amongst the gaming community that the latest Halo game that is in development may be released on all the platforms. The source of this information is that they listed a job posting, like basically saying, hey, we're looking for a lead developer for this new Halo game, and the Halo game, and they said in the job listing that it would be for all platforms. So this is making people, like, in the Xbox community kind of upset. Because, like, this is Halo, which is literally, when you go as far as, like, Xbox franchise games, the immediate first thought goes to Halo. It was on the original Xbox, and it's been on every single Xbox console since. So there is some controversy regarding that. Microsoft has not made any sort of confirmation for this to be factual. So I will say that this is all just speculation at this point. But it is very interesting that job posting for this position highlights that.
Well, I have seen some rumors that the new Indiana Jones, made by Bethesda, which Microsoft now owns, is going to be released on PlayStation as well. And I did see that Phil Spencer said that he didn't address anything specifically, but he said he's going to release a statement, or they're going to have like a conference as these rumors started swirling, so they haven't addressed anything specifically, but
look, as far as strategy goes, like, why wouldn't you offer it to everybody and say, like, hey, anybody who has an Xbox or at least a PC can only pay Game Pass subscription, and you just get it. Everybody else can pay $60, $70. Of course, we'll take your money, dude.
Yeah.
But if you're ever inclined, if you ever like realize like, oh shit, they got some games going on over there, I should invest in a PC or an Xbox. Like, we got you covered. Whenever you're ready, we're here. We're offering a subscription if you want more titles offered by us.
Yes.
or I mean, even vice versa. What if they put Game Pass on PlayStation and everything else and turn it into like gaming's Netflix?
Okay.
Where instead of saying like, okay, instead of people giving us $60 twice a month, what if people give us $15 every month on PlayStation and on everything? Like, because PlayStation, I can't imagine PlayStation would ever, Sony would ever allow that since they have their own PlayStation Plus thing. But what if they were like, you want Call of Duty? It's only coming on Game Pass. Like, something like that.
Dude, I don't feel like they would ever cut off sales, especially Call of Duty. Like, if you're paying, what was it, $6 billion for Activision or whatever, like, there's no way you would shortchange your sales just to gatekeep Call of Duty.
They did that with Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a slow process.
I think that was the reason why they did that with Bethesda, was to try to
just
win more
gatekeeping
people
to sell
over
the console. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think they're starting to realize that strategy didn't really work. So maybe that is why their intention with this next, if this is the case, right, with this next Halo game coming to all platforms, they're kind of conceding and just be like, you know what? Let's not do the gatekeeping. Let's not have these console wars. Let's just be an all-inclusive, all are welcome type of thing.
But what if because of Bethesda and Starfield specifically, they realize, like, oh shit, maybe we should just, like, grab as much people that are willing to fall for the Bethesda hype.
Well, at the same time, like, I'm curious, I think it's good getting rid of exclusives so everybody can play
Dude, yeah,
games,
100%. As long as
obviously.
crossplay is available for everyone, I am all
I don't
for
think
it.
anybody's really in disagreement of that. Like, it's good that anybody can play games anywhere, but at the same time, like, why would you ever buy an Xbox if you can play Halo but you can only play The Last of Us on PlayStation?
They're kind of shooting themselves in the foot if they cut off their exclusives. They're not going to sell consoles then.
Yeah, well, because, like, let's say PlayStation is the only place you can play God of War, but you can play every Bethesda game still and every Halo game.
Yeah, then
on
you're
there.
just going to get a PlayStation.
Yeah, because,
And that's why a lot of the Xbox fans are upset with this rumors spreading, because they're like, what's the point of even having an Xbox? I'm just going to get a PlayStation now. Because the huge incentive to getting a PlayStation is those PlayStation exclusives.
But what if that's the strategy for Xbox, is like, our console doesn't even fucking matter anymore. We're gonna get money from everybody because of the subscription.
Because of the game.
but I don't know
That's
how.
the capitalist spirit.
I mean, I can't comment today on
We're
that.
going
It's either a
political.
cry
This is
for
the-
help or it's a business move. They're going to focus on the games instead of the console, or they're saying like, oh god, we need help.
But not just consoles, PC, mobile. Like, they got it covered, man. Like, that's why I feel like, yes, they will of course sell an Xbox, but they don't give a shit how that one sells. They give a shit about Game Pass across everything that will reach to people.
I do feel like at that point, though, like, why make Xboxes? Like,
There's
just
no
become
point
a
at that
third-party company of Sony, because, like, Xboxes already aren't selling that well. And if you don't have exclusives, I imagine it's a lot more money to employ the people making those Xboxes than it would be if you just, didn't sell Xboxes at all. Although, obviously I don't want those people to get laid off. But
Especially because like, at least with Microsoft and the Xbox Game Pass, it's also available on PC. So for a lot of those people who are Xbox or Microsoft, like, loyalists, right, they're most likely to get the best experience are transitioning to PC. And those who are more of, like, myself, who are just like, honestly, I love the casual couch console type experience, they're going more for the PlayStation, if that makes sense.
yeah, like I said, I bought a Series S a little while ago because it's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something to just, play Game Pass games on a TV, and play everything they have. And, but if that option was available to me on my PlayStation, which I already own, like, I would have never thought about buying an Xbox.
What happens with the next Series S, like the cheaper version, is just like a beefy Fire Stick? Like, what if everything that you play, you just stream, and it does it super well, and the UI is, like, flawless, it never hitches the way Fire Sticks typically do? What if you're still getting that console experience, but every single game that you play is just streamed to you?
I think the biggest part with that is, like, with every failed streaming service, like Stadia, like, I think internet just isn't reliable enough for enough people to make this a big enough thing, which is why Stadia didn't work out. And I know Amazon's had a thing that they've tried out of, like...
Not yet.
It's very niche,
I agree with you, but the solution for those people is a dedicated console, which they will sell, their Series X.
But yeah, so I don't know. I think with Microsoft, it feels like there's just... I saw some people online saying it always feels like Microsoft isn't proactive in promoting things anymore. They're always reactive in responding to controversy, or, like, because last year it was
fair. Yeah.
it was Redfall, like, that was like their big...
Yikes.
That's why I don't like Game Pass. it lets developers push out shit. They still get their payday.
Maybe that
Fucking-
is their strategy.
Fucking Starfield and Redfall in the same year. Ooh,
Well, I mean,
Both on Game Pass.
it kind of really just points to the kind of, like, lack of foresight that Microsoft has right now, which, I think Starfield was way too far along after they bought Bethesda to really have any input on it. But with something like Redfall, I know a lot of developers left the company because they were being forced to make a multiplayer game. And it seems like Microsoft just chasing the trend of service games, where I think Redfall looked like it would have been really cool if it was
Had
a
they just
single
let
player...
Arcane do what Arcane
Yeah, vampire
does.
game, but it really seemed like a game that had a lot of forced transactions and multiplayer, but it seems like, Microsoft is just constantly responding to rumors and controversies at this point, and
You could say the same thing about Steam too. Like, let's let's not beat around the bush here. There's always a hentai game at the top.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and
But at the same time, Valve isn't, like, directly publishing that stuff.
yes, absolutely. But I mean, it's still on their platform, and that, like, Steam and Game Pass aren't exactly the same thing, but they're still, like, avenues for developers to get their shit out there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
but I think the difference is, like, Microsoft is directly funding.
Yeah, Steam's not handing the
games
hentai
like Redfall.
developers $10,000.
Yeah.
not yet.
No, okay.
We're gonna get there soon.
Maybe Game Pass needs a hentai game.
Hey, yo, I've seen your stuff, and I just want to say, here's 10 grand. We would love to have you in the spotlight, dude.
Because I think that's where this is going. Like, I don't know.
Especially with VR.
Yeah, at least from what I'm seeing from Halo, like, the top peak of players was 250,000. Like, that's, like, at launch, right? And now the only people you're getting is, like, 10,000. That's still a community.
Funny
Is this
enough-
for Halo Infinite?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, for the
Oh
newest
my
game,
gosh,
Halo
that
Infinite.
is crazy.
Well, funny.
Why would you not want more people playing
Yeah,
this?
no, totally. But funny enough, we've been talking about Pal World, and it's like, is that the game that Game Pass needed? because I believe I heard somewhere that Xbox had more people on Pal World than it did Fortnite.
I think Pal World is going to be just another trendy game.
I agree.
Like
it's
Among
gonna
Us.
blow over.
I don't disagree.
And I think it already is. Like, I feel like a lot of people like, oh, it was the new hotness. Everybody was kind of playing it, also kind of for the meme. It was kind of viral, and now people are starting to like, wow, this game is kind of grindy. It has some
I don't
bugs.
disagree, but Game Pass did just have like the most popular game in the world. So, like I'm curious how many people subscribe to Game Pass just to play Pal World,
My mentality about it is like definitely the No Man's Sky route, where they got a huge bump in initial people who bought No Man's Sky, and not everybody loved it, but because of that initial bump, they were able to iterate and iterate and iterate over the years, and now you go back to No Man's Sky and it's fucking amazing. Also, they still charge full price because every expansion they put out was free, technically, if you already own the game, but they still charge that $60 if you want to jump in right now.
So maybe that's the new strategy. Sell into the hype, release an unfinished game, and then use the profits from all the hype.
That has been the strategy for a while.
Yeah, that's the strat.
Anyway,
It
so
sucks.
I just feel like Microsoft is just in trouble, and like you never hear Sony addressing any concerning rumors or Valve or any Nintendo. Like Microsoft is the only company that's like
Sony's just in their corner, like, how can we do The Last of Us again?
every company. Yeah,
I will say about Microsoft that like they seem open to, since they own so many studios, they seem open to like, hey, if you have an idea for an IP that we own, pitch it to us, please, and we will give you the IP to work with.
Knights of the Old Republic 3.
I mean they already canceled the remake.
Yeah, don't remind me. Don't remind me.
So I don't
I've been
know.
suffering for decades.
There's like 13 threes.
So I don't know. It feels like Sony, like all these companies that kind of just stay doing their own thing. Microsoft is the one that's like, oh, Microsoft released this really buggy game at launch, and oh, Halo doesn't have a lot of players at launch. Like it's just always bad news. It feels like right now, like which sucks because I want them to do well, and
I think they're just open about it a lot more because Sony doesn't do that and Nintendo doesn't do that, specifically because they're Japanese companies.
Well, Nintendo doesn't need to do that.
They don't need to.
Nintendo is such a powerhouse.
Yeah.
They can do whatever the hell they want.
And why would they
I
tell
mean, I
you?
think Sony's
you know what I'm
reaching that
saying?
limit too. Like they can release The Last of Us 6 times, and people will continue buying it. Like.
Not as many, though.
Not as many. But also...
Because The Last of Us Part 2 was 100% controversial.
Yeah, but I think, again, going into talking about, like, the bubble bursting and stuff, like, at what point does Microsoft stop paying billions of dollars for these companies and then not selling that many games, Like...
At what point do they turn into Embracer Group and just, like, they grow too big and then start falling apart?
Which, like, it kind of feels like they need to be selling Xboxes to kind of warrant all this
Console sales have never really, like, driven profits. They normally sell at, like, they break even,
Yeah,
I'm
but
calling it right now. Nintendo's winning the console war.
Dude,
You're the only one that's going to stick around long enough.
I mean,
if they don't port anything over to PC, yeah.
Yo, Switch 2 rumors. Are y'all ready for this shit?
Ooh.
An 8-inch screen? That's bigger than the fucking Steam Deck OLED.
nothing about
Bigger
the
than
Switch,
a lot
like...
of things.
Nothing about the Switch, like, technical specs gets me excited because I don't play the Switch for, like... the power,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
But what if you did, dude?
Give me,
What if Mario Odyssey ran at 60 FPS at 4K?
It would be nice because, like playing Zelda, it's amazing how that game ran and it got kind of framey at times.
Kakariko Village, man.
But
That
like,
shit fell apart.
yeah, man, it was kind of rough at times. But
You could finally actually enjoy Skyrim on the Switch.
just make...
It's weird because like you're asking him like, would you rather enjoy playing like on your $3,000 PC with a 4090, you get like all the frames, all the graphics you want, or do you want like this handheld with like really outdated hardware.
Yeah.
And then, but like at least the company producing the games.
You can
like,
play like a quirky pinball game
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, at least the Nintendo's publishing like actual games where you can play.
But Matt, you wanted to talk about
Suicide Squad.
Suicide,
Thank
yeah.
you, thank you.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know. I've been feeling different things about it for the past few days.
I haven't played Suicide Squad yet, but I've been watching some playthroughs of it because I've been really curious because a lot of the negative
Yes.
perception on it,
Yeah.
and it's another one of those games that kind of seems like a little bit too much of forced multiplayer.
Yep.
But at the same time, I feel like gamers kind of feel like they have this crusade to speak out against
Yes, absolutely.
things they don't like.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be like a Marvel Avengers type situation?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think it does suck that a company like Rocksteady that made really cool Batman games had to, like, I would assume they had to make this multiplayer. I don't assume a lot of companies
Yes.
make multiplayer games unless
Because-
it's like a Call of Duty or something,
We know, I believe that Suicide Squad was meant to be a looter shooter.
Yeah.
I'm fairly positive about that. And it's nice to see that it isn't anymore, but there's still definitely those hang-ups are still in there.
Because from what I've seen, a lot of like the cinematics and cutscenes look pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like the combat isn't that great, and
I
it
haven't
goes
even seen
on
that,
for a
so I
little
have no
too
idea.
long.
It's just like, I don't know, it's very...
I would say like uninspiring.
Yeah, it's very much like if you played Spider-Man, like you would have played Suicide Squad. It's like the fighting's very similar. I would say like
Not too different from Batman.
yeah, absolutely.
But you have to do it way more because it's like designed as a multiplayer game.
Yes, yeah.
And so I just feel like, a lot of this negative criticism, it's like a lot of that is going to be going to the developers and people like that who don't really deserve it compared to the CEOs and all that who wanted this presumably to be a microtransaction game in the first place.
100%. If there was anybody I could have seen, like, spoilers, by the way. So Harley Quinn kills Batman at the end, right?
No.
Yeah.
That's not even at the end.
It's not at the end?
That's not at the end.
Oh my god, okay. So, Harley Quinn kills Batman. I will say this, I'm happy that if there was anybody to take out Kevin Conroy for the last Batman performance he had, I would have rather it have been Mark Hamill as the Joker.
Right.
But I am also happy that it is not somebody random and it is like Tara Strong doing her doing her Harley Quinn.
Yeah, and I think honestly for me, I might pick it up simply because it's Kevin Conroy's last act as Batman.
Well, exactly, and to me, sorry to interrupt, but
No, you're
from what
fine.
it seems like a great game to get on sale when it's like $30 or
Right.
something.
That's what I saw
Right.
in the Steam reviews. Everyone was like, "Hey, I don't get the hate. This game's actually kind of fun. Just get it on sale."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't seen anything talking too bad about the gameplay. I think that is legitimately just the hot topic of it. It's just like, why did Harley Quinn just fucking shoot Batman in the face?
And that's a lot of the hate that I'm seeing is people are like, "Oh, power scaling. They wouldn't be able to do that." Like, dude, it's a fucking game. Like,
yeah, it's just like
chill out.
I think hating something...
The game is called Kill the Justice League.
You know
Like,
what you're getting into.
I'll be more disappointed if they didn't kill the
if they
Justice
didn't,
League.
yeah.
This is
They
damn.
actually ended up allying
That's
with
just
one of
the
them.
plot of The Boys.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, so I feel like it just becomes a big meme to hate on something like
Yes,
that, you
yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
I do not think it deserves as much.
when
flack
I
as
think
it's
if
getting.
you just looked at the reception of Suicide Squad, you would think it's like the worst game ever.
Mhm.
Do you think people are judging it based off of the movies?
I think part of it is the monetization. You know, people get really mad about that, and then a superhero story that they don't like,
Mm-hmm.
and the meme of it all. You know, the hate train. You
Yeah,
know, once people
right.
start hating on something, it just
Yeah, a
becomes
lot of people
popular
are just
to hate on
upset
it.
that their superheroes are dying.
yeah,
Man.
like that hasn't happened like a
No.
million
Yeah.
times before.
Now, don't get me wrong. I am like literally. I call me basic, but my favorite superhero of all time is Batman, right? And I'll say that I even you guys familiar with Cameo, the app where you can get like whatever.
Oh God, what did you do?
even got a cameo of Kevin Conroy.
Yes, sir.
That's cool.
And it was for my brother, and normally like the prompt was like I paid for like a 1.5-minute video. Okay, where he basically is like, "Hey, I'm Kevin Conroy, whatever," like 1.5 minutes. But I told him, and you have a very limited characters that you can send to this celebrity, like saying like, "Hey, this is why I'm purchasing this cameo." And it was at the time because my brother was going through a rut. He was a little depressed, and I couldn't fit. I was like, "Hey, my brother, we watched Batman the animated series. We love you. He's going through a hard time right now, whatever." And he sent like a 4.5-minute, almost 5-minute video.
So cool.
And he literally like was just talking about like it was the ultimate pep talk. It was amazing, and I'll share it with you guys later. But it was such like, oh my gosh, Kevin Conroy! I already idolized you and loved you, but this was just something that just is such a pure human being, like just an amazing person, and I'm ever thankful for that.
Absolutely. He's like, just growing up with him, it's just like, it's crazy to see that he's gone now, but like you just like think about like all the Batman you've consumed, practically all the Batman you've consumed from like the time we were kids to like now, it's all been Kevin Conroy. It's crazy to think
It
about.
always was Kevin Conroy.
I mean, like I was just thinking, like it's gonna be weird going forward, with different Batman, but like at least from what we're seeing so far, I've been enjoying it. Oh God, what's his face? He just did the Batman movie.
Are you talking about Battinson?
Yes, Pattinson. Yes,
Yeah.
Phenomenal performance.
Did you say Pattinson?
I love
Yeah.
Pattinson.
Yeah.
Pattinson and not.
Pattinson,
You said
yeah.
Pattinson and not Pattinson,
Yeah.
which is fucking funny, dude. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but it was fucking funny.
That is how the internet refers to it.
That's
but
so
yes,
funny.
yes.
I didn't want to say Twilight because I grew up with him in Twilight.
There's also Ben Batfleck.
Yeah,
I've never heard.
I don't
these.
think Christian Bale got one.
Christian
I think
Bale.
he's just Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's like a American Psycho joke of Batman in there somewhere. Kind of blanking right now.
So I don't know. So I don't get the hate for Suicide Squad. I think
Yeah.
it's just funny to hate on it now.
I think,
think so
it
too.
might be from the movies. I could be wrong, but I think it might stem from the movies Suicide Squad, because I know that those were kind of like.
I don't know if they're connected though.
I'm sure they're not, but I think people just see the movies Suicide Squad and then see the game
Negative
Suicide
connection.
Gone, and they're just like, oh, it's probably going to be some trash.
I've actually heard there's like Arkham Asylum ties into.
Yeah,
Well,
it's connected to the Arkham universe.
It's like a sequel to that, which I think people
so
also
they
get
they
mad
killed
that they're
Arkham
like,
Batman. That's why a lot of people are mad.
Yeah, they're like
Gotcha.
they ruined the Arkham trilogy, or however many 4 games was it?
Man, that was so good.
Yeah, which was amazing.
So many memories.
Well, we're gonna take another break, but on this break, we're actually gonna be watching the what is it again, guys? The
Death Stranding 2.
Death Stranding 2 trailer, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll be back in just a sec. Welcome back to Games and Stuff and Things. We just watched the what was it again?
Death Stranding 2.
Ooh. Oh
Have
my
you ever
goodness.
smoked a bowl, taken melatonin, NyQuil, and every other thing that could make you have like the worst dreams? Because we just watched
Man.
9 minutes of that.
That was amazing.
I think you mean the best.
I don't-
games, though.
I don't think I've ever watched a 9-minute trailer for a game and not have any idea what it's about.
Yeah. Normally you're like, oh, I know everything now. Now you know nothing. But finding somebody with an electric guitar,
But at the
coolest thing I've ever seen.
and that's what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying. Like, even though I feel really confused, it makes me like hype. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this game? I want to play it.
Dude, I have no interest in this.
it's too
I do not
outlandish
care.
for me.
I
Just like the first one is just weird looking.
Demon and Devil Cat with,
Yeah, you didn't want a displacer beast for a.
No, I'm okay.
Yo, I am hype about this. like
Did you play the first?
I did, yes.
What the fuck is it?
It's like
Don't spoil it. I still want. This makes me want to play it.
okay. It's like man, it's very hard to get into.
Is it
It's
just
a
a
walking
walking
simulator.
simulator?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the whole point.
There's action parts, and I'll say like if you can stick around to the action parts, you'll absolutely love it for what's there
Okay.
because it plays very much like Phantom Pain in the sense that like the character movement and stuff like that's the same. Sam feels a little bit heavier, more weighty, like he's supposed to. The gunplay in it isn't that good.
Mhm.
Just from watching this trailer, though, it seems like they're going that route.
They're
now.
trying to make it better, yeah, more
Yes.
actiony.
It because she said something like he's not a part of Bridges anymore, and like that was all from the trailer, right? In Bridges, like that's the kind of the only thing you were doing, and that's kind of the whole first game is just like delivering these packages and like going and connecting people and stuff like that. It's fun, but it does get a little samey after a while.
Okay.
So I think if you like just try to truck through it, like you'll like what's there.
Or just watch like an abridged version on YouTube.
Or that too, absolutely.
Because of the story.
Boo. do you think the action in the first one was like so good simply because of a lack of it?
Yes.
You were
Yes and no. It's so they
starved, hungry.
No, the first hour or two, like there's action like right away. It's just like you have to get through some cinematics and stuff like that. Like they don't try to take away the game from you whenever you first start.
Mhm.
It's just that it is very slow to get some of the fun things that you can get later on in the game, like some bigger guns or like some of the like they have I forgot what the gun's name is, but it's like it shoots like those two like ball things on the end, and then there's like a rope in between them.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Something along or something like that.
yeah. But it takes a while before you can start to get all these like items and stuff that help you out with all your runs.
Anyways, I feel like part of the point is like wanting to play a slower game.
Yeah.
I played a few hours of it when it first came out, and it was like, okay, you're going to be walking across this really cool landscape with some chill music playing and delivering packages. It's like you kind of got to be in the mood for that,
Absolutely.
And for a completely like ridiculous story.
Yeah, I'll say that it's there. Like again, I don't want to give spoilers.
Shout out to Hot Cold Man.
Yeah, Hot Cold Man. Yup.
Wait, you're not making that up?
No. Right?
There's they have a bunch of like Dead Men and it's Dead Men.
I mean, it's just Kojima's whole thing.
You're giving me more questions. I already have no idea what
it's
I
a
want.
Kojima game, man.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, Metal Gear Solid, there was Liquid Snake, Naked Snake, Solid Snake, Solid Snake.
Yeah, but that felt like a fucking acid trip, man. I was like,
Yeah,
what
I'm not
was
saying
that?
he was an off a perk on that.
This
Like,
Kojima
it definitely
was,
was.
fully unhinged.
And for the record, it is called a bolus.
A bowl. Okay. yes.
Bolas, throwing bolas.
Oh, bolas, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Like, there's a bunch of fun stuff, and they added stuff in the remaster too. Because I guess Sony's really wanting to
Was
remaster
Troy
two
Baker
games.
part of the first one? Or
Yes.
is that okay?
Yeah.
Was he? Did he look like
A
that?
guitar
or-
wielding cyborg ninja.
No.
So he's
He was more of an edgelord in the first one. He had like have you seen like some of Ghost's character artwork for Call of Duty or like those skins where he has like the hood up?
Mhm.
He looks exactly like that.
okay.
Yeah, he has like
So why is he like that now?
it's kind of spoilery.
It's
I don't
because he
wanna-
got
Okay, fair
killed
enough,
in
fair
The
enough.
Last of Us
Yeah.
Part 2. I think
Gotcha.
that was,
There we go.
I think
Anyways,
that's what happened.
Guitar wielding cyborg ninja.
Did he have a guitar in the first one?
No.
Okay.
having an extra pair of hands around your neck?
Yeah, is that like
Man,
a
that was
thing
so
that?
fucking
That's cool.
stupid.
That's
So-
so cool.
The power system. I'm excited for the reason why I'm excited for this one is because they explore the power system more. So the reason why these people can do all these weird things is called dooms, and it's like an illness that you get from like that whole chiral.
So you get rubber gloves.
Yeah, so like
That's my doom.
so hers in the first game, her powers were she could like blink. She can blink teleport, and there's a couple other things. I'm not sure if they were too spoilery though, but like the reason why you see people crying so much is because it's an allergic reaction to their powers that they have. Yeah. So the Troy Baker in the first game, I think his Doom's level was like 7 or something. It's pretty high up there, but that's why he can teleport. He can summon creatures. He can do all these crazy ass things. Whereas Sam, the guy we're playing as, he only has Doom's level 1, but he's a
What can he
repatriate.
do?
Huh?
What can he do?
What can he doom? He's a repatriate. So, in game terms, what that means is whenever you die, he comes back to life.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
it's Dark Souls.
Exactly. Yeah.
The spaceship flying out of the BB's mouth.
What a fucking dumbass
It's,
trailer, dude.
I
Yeah.
feel like Charlie.
I loved it, but it was weird.
Like connect the red dots and make you see what I'm seeing, but it very is a Kojima game. Like there's
Okay.
so much shit.
And that's all you really have to
Yeah.
say.
I just want to know more about the little puppet.
Yeah,
That-
the
I w-
puppet.
that-
He's moving at like 15 frames a second to make him look like.
That little angry face, like, don't fucking touch me, bro. Like, I was like, oh shit.
I don't know what to tell you there. I really don't.
Well, I think, man, it's let me find it real quick.
It's definitely interesting. I will give it that.
It is. I'm excited to see.
I don't know if I would play it, but I think I would definitely watch it.
I'm hoping it's not like as grindy as the first game. where
Bro,
you're
did you
just
see that
delivering
environment that
packages.
was literally just like stalactites?
Yeah.
What it's based off.
Like that. If they expect you to traverse that, that seems like a nightmare.
So it wasn't bad. In in the first game, you're doing the same thing, right? Just delivering packages. It sounds boring as fuck. Like face value, I get it. But it's the stuff between there that you're kind of wanting to experience.
Also, Conan O'Brien's in the game.
Conan O'Brien's.
He gives you an
too,
otter
yes.
suit.
Yep. There's the BTs you got to go through. So there's just invisible entities that you can't really see, right? There's the I forgot what they call it. They're like the scavengers or whatever, but they basically just want to jump you and take your shit. I forgot what they're called. They're like jackals or something. But they're in the open world, like
Jeff Keighley's in the
Jeff
first game.
Keighley's in it. Yep. The traversal too, like getting over mountains. You have to place
You
like
get the
mountains.
motorcycle, too?
Yep. You just gotta like keep placing it. It's a whole thing. Like
Yeah.
it sounds.
I think you
boring.
need to show me instead of tell me.
What a
Yeah.
game.
I've heard it described as like, and this is not like me trying to make fun of it, but I have heard a lot of people like saying it felt like Amazon delivery driver simulator.
Kind of. There's
Yeah.
there's the times. It sucks because you're shoveled off in the direction, like, so to make any progress in the game you have to do those missions. Like if it was just like explore and connect and jump these dudes and take their loot, I would have been fine with that. But for the most part it is just like, hey, this person needs their like XL18 dragon dildo like right now, dude. You need to go deliver this in like 10
So
minutes.
you just have to
or-
walk across the land.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah.
here's your truck.
No, you can use it.
Okay.
You can use things to make it easier for yourself. But when you're starting the game, it
They
is
don't.
on foot stuff.
They haven't started using like drone delivery yet.
There's drone
at
delivery.
that point. Okay,
Mhm.
so he's redundant then.
It's like, I don't know, bro. You just have to play
It's-
it. Everything you're thinking of is in
RPG.
the game. You just have to play it.
Okay, well, I'll give you like the choice though. Like, would you prefer this game, which the gameplay itself is not bad, but it is what it is, and the story elements are great?
Mm.
Or would you pick Phantom Pain, where the gameplay is great, but the story elements are meh?
I'm leaning towards this because we get a more uncensored Kojima in terms of what he can do when it comes to games. When it's Metal Gear, I felt like he was just kind of doing it just to do it.
I feel like the first 4, the fifth one definitely felt like a lot more like Well, I believe that game wasn't even like finished. Like Konami
wasn't.
rushed it out the door
Yeah.
because he was spending so much time and money on it.
Yeah,
you know.
it wasn't finished at all.
But like, man, the first 3 Metal Gear Solid games—that's like one of the best trilogies ever.
It's solid.
Like,
yeah.
some crazy things about Kojima talking about the internet and
Mm-hmm.
misinformation and government conspiracy and that
Yep.
kind of stuff, and you know, like, it's so crazy. The thing I'm really interested about is I feel like he's always somewhat deceiving about his trailers.
Yes.
I'm very curious to see like what is he not telling us about Death Stranding 2. Like, I just watched 10 minutes of it and I don't understand on some of
What if
it.
it's just like copy and paste of the first game?
Yeah.
It's just
Be so upset, honestly. Oh.
I mean, cool little puppet, guitar, cyborg ninja. Like, what else do you need?
I don't think anybody else in the gaming industry could get away with it.
Well, also,
And
I feel like I read something about that recently. Somebody was like, nobody gets the unfiltered budget that Kojima gets. Because he's making that OD game with Jordan Peele,
Yep.
which is like mixed
I haven't
media.
heard about that one.
They announced it at the Game Awards. He was like, I'm combining games and movies and making this new experience with Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
And it just showed a lot of people yelling at their screens.
It was a little weird, but I mean...
Okay.
And then he announced another game movie that was another tactical espionage thing with the new like spokesperson for PlayStation
Mm-hmm.
that is like another game movie kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. I don't know how Kojima's cooking, but like it's fun seeing somebody as creative as him just get the amount of freedom that he gets.
Yeah. I think he's definitely blending the medium because you can already see like the cinematography and like the shots in his games.
All he does is watch movies. Like, you know,
Yeah.
he posts on Twitter 100 times about how much he loves Mad Max.
Yes.
And then he has George Miller, the director of Mad Max, in Death Stranding.
Yep.
Like, and he's just hanging out with like Jordan Peele and Timothy Chalamet and all these
Yeah.
guys, you know,
It's so...
which is awesome. Like, I love it because it's somebody as weird as Kojima.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, it freaks me out every time I see it on Instagram too, because I'm just like, what's he got cooking, dude? Like, why is Timothy Chalamet here?
Yeah,
Like,
that's why I'm
what
like waiting to see
are you
like what
doing?
game is Timothy Chalamet gonna be in. You know, like is he gonna show up in Death Stranding too?
Absolutely. Hey, if
He's
you're
the
telling
baby.
me-
Yeah,
hey.
because he was hanging out with Jordan Peele and then he announced OD with Jordan Peele,
Yes,
which
that's
is
right.
like such a weird thing. Like Jordan Peele and Kojima making a game together. What could that? A game, you know? They say it's gonna like combine the mediums. Like, what is that?
But is it gonna be on Game Pass?
Doubt it. Doubt it. Microsoft's going
Hey,
down the
who knows?
drain.
Yeah, right.
They're not.
Well, you know, it won't
Not
be
com-
exclusive.
Yeah. Oh man, that was insane. I can't wait for this game. 2025 is way too far.
Gives me
away.
enough time to beat the first one.
That's true. Yeah.
For people that are into Kojima stuff, you know, I'm here for you, but it's never landed for me.
Hot, cold, man.
That's perfectly all right. It's like, I know it's a very like weird thing to get into.
Mhm.
It's like I can't imagine like, you know, you playing like Metal Gear Solid 5, right, and then just seeing like that giant fucking flaming whale, and you're just like, what is going on? But that's just like what Kojima fans feel like.
Well, like,
all
Well,
the time.
it's not so much the what is going on that catches me. I feel like it's more of a story and less of a game.
well, I
And
think-
I'm here for gameplay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely weird, and yeah, I don't know. I remember being like 15 and playing the Metal Gear Solid trilogy on Xbox 360 and just being mind blown.
I've always heard 4 is just like it's just a movie.
Yeah, 4 has like hour-long cutscenes.
Yeah.
The first 3 though, man, like they're the perfect blend of like games and cutscenes and story. Like,
Psycho Mantis.
it's so weird. I mean, you know, Metal Gear Solid 3, there's a boss who's an old man, and if you wait long enough to fight him, he'll just die of natural causes.
Yes.
Like,
Love that.
stuff like that, man, is like, nobody else does that.
What else would think of it?
I know there was one thing where it would like read your memory card too.
Yeah, that was the first one. The first one,
Psycho Mantis.
Was
uh,
it?
Yeah, the first one, it would read your memory card and tell you, like, what games you have on there, and then...
You had to, like, switch the...
Yeah, you would disable your
controller.
controller port, and you'd have to use a different
The
one.
guy was revolutionary on the PlayStation 1.
And then you would have to call somebody, but his codec number would be on the back of the box of the game.
Who else would think of that?
Yeah, that was PlayStation 1. And then, yeah, in Metal Gear Solid 3, old guy boss, wait long enough during your fight, he just dies of natural causes. That's awesome.
Like, just falls over mid-fight?
Yeah, they're like, well, he's dead. Like, that kicks ass.
Yeah.
Nobody else does that.
You waited for a week. Yep, he was gonna die.
And I think it follows, like, your in-game clock, too.
Yep. It's insane. God.
So, like, a lot of
so
people would
detail.
just put their clock forward, like, a week.
Yeah.
And he would be dead.
I'm wondering if they're gonna do the same thing in Delta. I don't imagine that
They
would
better.
change.
Well, that's the weird thing with Konami. Like, you don't know,
Yeah.
like, what they're gonna do.
Oh man. Yeah, they fumbled the bag with Kojima.
But also, like, I get it because, yeah, he's...
This dude who's
Yeah.
just on
We're
drugs.
talking about budgets. I
all
wonder
the
how much
time.
money this game costs and getting guys, like, all these
Getting all
actors.
those names.
Just on the actors alone.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like, I'm curious how much money this game costs to make, you know? Like, crazy technology and graphics.
I wonder how the actors feel about it. Like, are they really passionate about the role, or are they just like, this is stupid,
I
but
feel like
it's a paycheck?
Kojima would be a really fun guy to hang out with, and I imagine he sells you on this stuff really well.
Mhm.
Like, because he has to have an amazing vision to make stuff like this.
Acid.
That's what I felt like when I was watching that.
Oh man, yeah, it's like I'm hoping this game is going to be different from the first one, just because it looks like it's going to be a lot more like shooter focused and like exploratory focused, but
Or it's a bait and switch.
Or it is
They,
a bait
they
and
gonna
showed
be more
one
s-
scene
more
of
story.
shooting. Are you sure about that?
it just like from hearing what they're talking about, it's just it sounds like he's not going to be delivering shit anymore. It sounds like he's just gonna be
delivering
connecting
bullets?
People. He's delivering bullets. Yes, he's
I'm a
delivering.
lead farmer, motherfucker.
Yeah, he's delivering blood bullets to those filthy BTs that keep hogging up the road.
Well, we here at Games and Stuff and Things got to start wrapping it up, so I'm going to throw out some quick fire questions. If you want to send us some questions, you can reach out to us on the Discord or the YouTube direct messages. First up, we got, how much would you pay/give to have an autographed copy of the Bible?
An autographed copy of the Bible?
By God.
Signed by Jesus. Signed by God is pretty good, but there's no way to get that
The
notarized.
J-Man himself?
I would give as
Imagine if somebody could actually like look at it and be like, dude, yeah, that's Jesus Christ's fucking signature. I don't know how you got it, but you got it.
I feel like that would answer a lot of life's questions, so I'd probably give like as much money as I could spend.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, well, guys, this is the one true religion. It's all real.
I'd give 10%. That's what the tithe demands.
Yeah.
Would you sell it or keep it?
I'll keep it. I feel like if Jesus was real
He'd
and
forgive
autographed my Bible, he would probably judge me for selling.
But
this-
now you just lost all your money.
No, you'd be forgiven.
Well, at that point, I'm like,
Well,
well,
how
who
many-
needs material possessions?
How many did he sign, though? Like, is
The
it-
one.
Oh, a one of one?
One of one.
Who
One of
needs
one?
material possessions?
I-
I have eternal life now.
I wouldn't be able to afford it.
No, you have a book.
Huh. I don't know. I grew up Catholic, but like, I'm not anymore. So I don't feel like it would like have that much of a novelty to me. I think I would still pay out like a huge premium for it, just because I think it'd be like cool that, you know, because it's just like, here's the word of God, and also it's signed by the Savior of man himself. You know, I'd be like, yeah, that's really cool, and like, here's this artifact that we know exists.
I would definitely see it
Wouldn't
as an
like,
artifact too.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
it, the fact that it's a signed copy also be contradictory
Yeah.
to like the timeline of the Bible?
A time traveler took a copy of the Bible, went back in time,
got Jesus to
sign
This
it, and
is
then
the
went
story
forward
of
in
Death
time.
Stranding too.
Oh my god, it makes sense.
Sam Porter Bridges is
That's-
traveling through time to
That's
get.
what the beach is. It's time.
This could be, this
Oh,
could be a
fuck.
Kojima.
Kojima's a genius, dude.
Another quick question: what games blew you away graphically?
Dylan.
I know recently Elden Ring was a big one for me. That was a big one where you like
Huh.
walk out of a cave and you have like this whole world. You know, I feel like that was the perfect combination of my taste for artistic and graphical fidelity.
Okay.
Where, you know, you had the huge, the Erd tree just in the sky everywhere.
Yes.
And man, that game looks very cool.
I remember going underground for the first time in that game and being like, "What the fuck? Like,
That was
this
like-
is a whole nother level."
That was kind of one of those games that kind of made me feel like a kid again, where I was just like blown away, like just looking at stuff.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
I feel like Spider-Man 2 was really good at making you feel really fast, too. That
Mm.
was one of the most impressive games I played in a while. Just, like, everything is so fast in that game. It really feels like you're Spider-Man.
I think for me, there was many times where I was blown away graphically. The earliest one I'll say is, I think the first Halo on the Xbox. On the very first mission, when you're just like looking and you see the Halo seemingly going into the sky, and you're like, oh my god, this is crazy. And then subsequently, like just first-person shooters game like releasing after that, then Halo 2, then Halo 3, you're like, how is it getting better? Oh my gosh. But more recently, I think the most graphically beautiful game for me, I'm going to have to give it to Ghost of Tsushima. That game made me start using the screenshot and like function and like actually going into photo mode. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of beautiful games out there, but Ghost of Tsushima just really made me like, oh my goodness, this is just beautiful.
Yeah.
I was just blown away by it.
I'll second that. There are a lot of like good points of interest in that game where you're just like, I have to bring out the screenshot or the capture. Like, you know, it just makes you feel like a photographer or something. Like just looking at that game world, it is very gorgeous.
I remember seeing Star Fox 64 at somebody's house, and I was just like, "What the fuck? I own an N64, and I can't believe this is on there."
Jump back and holy shit, man. Honestly, there's only a few that's ever done that for me. I think around the similar vein. I think Mario 64 first when I was a kid kind of blew my mind. Just because I had only played 2D games up until that point. So seeing that for the first time was a really big mind fuck. The second time was probably, I want to say Call of Duty 2 when it first came out for 360. Because I remember they had that just like all the Walmarts, you know, and when you're a kid, you're just like, I don't want to shop with my parents. I want to go to the game aisle and then just see what they got. I would do that every time. And Call of Duty 2 would be right there. And for some reason, I thought it was the most realistic thing ever. Like just the jump from Xbox graphics to 360 graphics, like my tiny brain was just like, this is impossible. Like we're already here. Like it might as well just be a simulation.
Can't get better than this.
Yeah. Nope. And then it did a few years later with Crisis, and I think that was
Crisis.
Yeah, I think that was the last game to like blow me away, like visually from a graphics perspective.
I really love Division 2 because on the surface it's city, it's like it's Washington DC, right?
2? Yeah, I think it's DC.
Yes. So on the surface, on street level, it's kind of basic, but then when you start going into those handcrafted missions where they're walking you through museums and underground like nightclubs almost, and then there's also the museum that has you go through a Vietnam section.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And then like open parks too, like you're just standing in the middle of a pond. Like that game gets kind of wild with its environments, working with such a specific like city like Washington DC. They do a lot with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think for me, I was most blown away by Zelda Twilight Princess because of just the very aggressive change in tone. How at the time it was like as realistic as they could possibly get, and before that you had like Wind Waker and stuff, and then and even further back, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, they just look like Saturday morning cartoons. But Twilight Princess was like, no, we're gonna go dark with this. So I thought that was a really cool switch, and I think it was the first time that a game really took like a big graphical switch up like that. So that still sticks with me. And then also the switch from like original Smash to Melee, just seeing that upscaled was pretty cool.
Absolutely. It was a really big, a really weird like mood change at least from Nintendo's
I loved
perspective.
it though. Yeah, like they don't make dark stuff,
Yeah.
but then Twilight Princess was just like, oh, here you go.
It was phenomenal. Yeah, I honestly don't know why they don't do more of it, because it was just like, I get maybe for the older fan base, but it was such a solid game. Like, you think of Zelda games, it's one of the top ones. You get the Ocarina of Time, you get Wind Waker, but Twilight Princess is almost always up there.
And then even story-wise, Twilight Princess was like, we're going to make it darker there, too.
Yeah.
Just in all aspects, Twilight Princess was a darker Zelda.
One thing that got me recently was playing the Dead Space remake and then going back and looking at Dead Space on Xbox 360. And I was like, man, this game looked really bad. Like, nowadays, like, in my mind, it always looked how the remake did.
Yeah.
Like, really good, high fidelity.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and I look and it's like,
Like, ooh,
I'm like, man,
these things had like 2 polygons.
yeah, I did not remember it like this.
It's like comparing Resident Evil 4 as well.
Yeah,
it's very
exactly.
different.
You go back and watch the original, and you're like, man, this is crazy.
So like, Leon's not as cringe anymore. What's going on, man? At least he looks hot.
Yeah.
I'd fuck him. Yeah.
Well, on that note, that's all
No,
we got here.
We're gonna stay here for another 10 minutes listening to how much I'd fuck Leon.
I gotta explain how I fuck him.
That's all we got here at Games and Stuff and Things. Thanks for listening. If you want to reach out to us, Discord and the YouTube DMs is the way to do it. Follow us on Twitch, YouTube, and reach out to us, man. Let's talk.
What are
Thanks.
the links? What are the...
I can't list them off the top of my head. That's crazy.
You don't got the Gmail.
https://
There we go.
It's a .net/org.
Don't trust him. You will get doxxed by the government if you go to those sites.
Go to Penn Island. Trust me.
Thanks again for joining me, Suhail.
Hey.
Thank you, Brandon.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dylan.
Hey.
And thank you, Matt.
Thanks for having me, man. It was fun. Can't wait to do it again.
Catch us next time here on Games and Stuff and Things. See ya. I was not recording that whole
Damn.
time. Fuck!
Oh.
Dudes, I'm so sorry, man. It's recording now.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Welcome to Games and Stuff and Things.
So we'll just keep going.
Yo, hold up. That was good. Keep going.
We just talked for 2 hours. That's going to be the end of the podcast.
Yeah,
Well,
get fucked.
God.
So, we were just talking...